Hello everyone, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. My name is Numb Solid and here we discuss books that I've read throughout the week. This week's book is How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Meghan Quinn. Let's get into it. I know it has been a while. I think the last time I posted was like 2 weeks ago. I don't have an excuse. I've just been being so lazy. It took me a while to read this book. It's actually almost 500 pages. Which, I mean, it was juicy. It's just between work, me being tired, I'm also a gamer. My time was kind of occupied doing other things. But I finally got around to to the video. I think that I'm going to try to release a book a week, so make a video once a week. We're gonna try that, but I think also that I may dibble and dabble in doing some Reddit posts because I think that some of those stories on there are crazy, and I enjoy like hearing people read Reddit posts, and I was like, maybe that could be something like in the in-between time, like when I haven't done what I was supposed to do and read my book, maybe that could be something that I do. So we will see about that. Okay, let's get into the story. This is told from the perspectives of Storee Taylor and Cole Black. Now, growing up, Storee would visit her great aunt Cindy every year during the Christmas holidays. Her aunt lives in Colorado and Kringletown, and this town is year-round Christmas themed. On her visit, Storee developed a friendship with Cole. Now, this friendship only lasted during the holidays, but each year for each visit, they would pick things back up from where they left off. Currently, it's been 10 years since Storee has stepped foot in the town. She hasn't been back since she was 17. There was a mishap where the town's Christmas didn't go perfect and she was the one to blame. And because of the embarrassment of it all, she never wanted to step back in Kringletown. Now, recently, her aunt broke her hip and has been having trouble moving around her home. Storee's parents suggested that she should take care of Aunt Cindy. Storee didn't have any plans for the holidays. Her parents would be away and she would be on vacation from her job from editing Love Mark movies. If you know what it is, you know what it is. As she's gotten older, she has become a recluse. So she was the perfect candidate to take care of her great aunt. Storee and her sister Taryn hop in the car and head to Aunt Cindy's house. Storee is really bummed because she didn't want to spend the holidays taking care of an old lady. And most of all, she doesn't want to wash her aunt's lady parts, But Taryn doesn't trust Storee to fully be able to give their aunt the care she needs. So Taryn is a nurse and she decides to take off work so that she can stay and help out. Whenever they arrive, it's very clear that things are weird. There are no decorations out. The house just looks sad without all the Christmas cheer. They've never seen the house like this. Storee is thinking that maybe her aunt is close to death. So they decide to settle in before their aunt is dropped off by one of her neighbors. And while they're waiting, Cole is next door seething. He saw them pull up. He's been in a funk since Storee has left. The Christmas of their 17th birthdays was the exact year his parents died. They died in a car accident in a winter storm. He was orphaned at 17, but he wasn't alone. His best friend Max was right by his side, and Max's parents took Cole in like he was one of their own. He has been working at their tree farm taking care of the reindeer, but ever since Storee left and his parents died, he had become the town's Grinch. He closed himself off to everyone and never celebrated Christmas the same. Now, he had in his mind that he would avoid being around Storee at all costs. She wasn't worthy of his presence. But he is surprised whenever she walks into a local eatery he was planning to order food from. She's polite and smiles at him, but if looks could kill, she'd be dead. You thought he was pissed at her before, but he becomes even more enraged when she acts like she doesn't know his name. She keeps calling him Connor. He's so mad, he tells her not to talk to him and eventually storms out when she continues to talk. She knew exactly who he was. She just thought it would be a funny joke to call him a different name. This girl is oblivious as to why he does not like her. She's thinking that maybe He's so upset because she kept calling him the wrong name. Boy, if you knew. So Kringletown started a tradition of nominating 1 out of 5 participants to be the town's Christmas Kringle. There would be an assortment of different challenges each contestant would be judged on. Best candy cane, best fruit cake. There's a Santa speed round. Then there will be a talent show of things upcycled. Best eggnog, best light display, and best caroler. The winner is announced on Christmas Day. You also have to be around town showing Christmas cheer, greeting everyone, and staying out in the open. Now, Aunt Cindy, she came in second last year and springs on Storee that she wants her to enter the contest on her behalf. Aunt Cindy can't enter in because her hip is broken, so she wants Storee to take over. She said that this will be her dying wish. She may not have many Christmases in her. Storee, of course, is reluctant because of the past incident, but eventually she agrees to enter. She agreed to enter, but Aunt Cindy had already entered her name, so regardless if she agreed or not, she was already in there. They had made a decision where Storee would be the one focusing on the contest, and Taryn would take care of Aunt Cindy. So when Cole finds out that Storee entered the contest, he is flabbergasted. Who does Storee think she is? She doesn't even like this town. She said so herself the last Christmas she was here. Cole is not going to let her get away with this, not with how she ruined everyone's Christmas before. She had tripped up the stairs walking on a stage and knocked a woman down a hill into a frozen lake, and the top layer of the lake shattered when the woman fell on top of it. So she actually went into the lake, which is very dangerous. But she was also a child. There was also something about a shortage of something like gingerbread or hot chocolate or something like that. I don't remember what it was exactly, but because of all these things and his hatred for her, he didn't think she deserved the win. So Cole comes up with a plan. He's going to enter the competition and kick her butt. A competition that requires him to be a joyous person. That's how much he can't stand her. He's only entering in just to spite her. He chooses his best friend Max to be his assistant Kringle, and the game is on. As I stated earlier, there are only 5 people out of the entire town who is picked to be in this competition, and there is only one winner. Now Max, he likes the fact that someone is getting to Cole. Like, this is the most entertainment or the most that he has seen out of Cole in a while. He's like, why is this woman getting you out of your comfort zone? He knows that Cole likes Max. It's so obvious. It reminds me of like when you're a kid and somebody likes you, but instead of them telling you they like you, they're mean to you and like push you off the slide or something like that. Like, it's the same concept. It doesn't make sense, but you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles. All the contestants go downtown to meet with their town's Mr. and Mrs. Claus to discuss the rules of the game. They are handed folders that contain all the rules and regulations. Oh, I forgot to mention that they also needed to dress the part, and they had to wear these golden sashes at all times in public. This town took this competition entirely too serious. They even had spies around the entire town reporting each contestant's progress. The first challenge is the eggnog making. Each person is given a pre-mixed base that they must add different flavorings to. Before they even get to the competition, Aunt Cindy decides to up the ante by perceiving herself as an old, decrepit woman close to death. She said that they had to do it because the town would have sympathy for Cole, with it being the first year of him celebrating Christmas since his parents' death, and he's doing this in his parents' honor. So it's like, dang, I have to pull the sympathy strings. So they all go to the local bar. Storee makes her eggnog with the spices: nutmeg, allspice, cinnamon, and a dash of cardamom. Cardamom? No, it's cardamom. Okay. I just had a whole debacle on how to pronounce this. She puts crusted gingerbread cookies around the rims and presents the drinks to the judges. She's wearing a ridiculous top with bells everywhere, including on her breast. And after she gives the description of her drinks, she shimmies, which receives a smile from the judges. So as Cole is approaching the judges, Max is like, unbutton your shirt. And Cole is like, no. He just brushes them off. Cole's drink is a rendition of dark chocolate hazelnut. As he's walking away, Max is like, basically like, shimmy, dude. Shimmy. Cole is like, what is wrong with this dude? I'm not doing it. Storee ended up winning the first challenge. And Max is like, the reason why we didn't win, Cole, is because you didn't unbutton your shirt and you didn't shimmy. And Aunt Cindy is so overjoyed that she just stands up. Oh, well, she's already standing because she has her walker with her. But she starts pelvic thrusting. And Cole and Max come in second. And Cole is pissed. He's pissed that they're playing this angle of an old decrepit lady. He's like, dang, the fact that y'all was stooped so low. Okay. The second challenge involves upcycling. The contestants are supposed to create a live action scene from one of their favorite Christmas movies and do it by using things that can be recycled or by upcycling old items to give them a different purpose. Storee decides to use the same materials and the same scene Aunt Cindy used the year before. She would dress as Judy Garland, sing Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, like the scene from the movie Meet Me in St. Louis. They would use a cardboard box as the window. Aunt Cindy would sit on the outside of the window while Storee would lip sync to the song. And the crowd loves it. There isn't a dry eye. It's wonderful. It's a tearjerker. And she's thinking, I have this in a bag. Like, she's thinking that they're golden until she sees what Cole and Max are wearing. Max decided they would recreate a scene from The Grinch. He learned the judges just so happened to like thunder from down under. So Cole is painted like the Grinch with lederhosen, shirtless, showing his well taken care of abs. Max goes on as Max the dog, wearing dog ears and the smallest shorts so you can see his package. They reenact the scene where Jim Carrey is trying to find something to wear. It would go according to the movie. Cole is behind the curtain, throwing clothes everywhere until the music mix starts. Then he would reveal a leg and eventually come out where he and Max would start dancing to the music. And Cole wins the challenge. I don't know if it was his final pelvic thrust that won them over, but there were some people that passed out. He was getting the heart rates of them old ladies up. Storee comes in second, and she's upset. She's appalled at the fact that they would sexualize themselves for this competition. But neither one of y'all are playing fair at all. So whatever. So as they are gearing up for the third challenge, Cole and Storee run into each other while heading to the hardware store. This challenge is for the best light display. Storee is trying to get ideas while also eavesdropping on Cole. She thinks she's being sneaky, but she is not. He can see her following him around the store and decides to try to throw her off. The store owner is the one who's supposed to judge this particular segment of the competition. So Cole starts talking to her about, you know, I'm gonna get me a 50 feet tall blow-up doll as my decoration to go, you know, in my yard. This is against the rules, but Storee doesn't know because she didn't read them. So she is like, oh yeah, I'm taking this all in and I'm gonna take it back to my aunt and my sister. And when she, you know, reveals the plans to her aunt and her sister, they're like, that's against the competition. You need to first off read the rules, and you need to take this more serious and stop letting him throw you off your game. Max is basically the brains in the competition on Cole's side. He's coming up with all the ideas. Max came up with the idea to have green lights everywhere and created a beautiful big green bow to sit on the roof. Like somehow they would string the lights into the bow. He's like a carpenter kind of esque man. Like they're real handy. So they were able to create this. It's a beautiful display. And Taryn is the one who was over Storee's display. And I think she is kind of OCD because she likes things to be precise. And I don't know if that is that she's OCD or she's just wanting things to be perfect. I think it's kind of a combination of both. But she's measuring everything. to make sure that she gets the exact amount of lights. She hasn't put up anything, but she's just measuring the roof and everything just to make sure that they get everything that they need. She's like, 20 boxes is enough for this display to look good. Whenever they do complete their light display, Storee is like, this is not enough lights. We need more than 20 boxes. And Aunt Cindy, you know, she kind of agrees, and she tells Storee, if you don't do something, we're gonna lose this challenge. So you need to go over there and do something to Cole's display. It's crunch time now, and the judges are about to appear on their street. And when the judges appear, you're not supposed to be around. You're supposed to be in your house. So Storee ends up dressing in all black and heads to Cole's house. This part in the book, I don't know why it was so funny to me, but it cracked me up so much, just the description of everything. It's like I could vividly picture her doing this. She ended up at one point, like, she can't get into his backyard because it's snow blocking the way, so she has to dig that out, and her hands, of course, are getting cold because she has on these like little cotton gloves or whatever you want to call them. Then she gets inside and she's trying to like but she over here shimmying, like trying to get past this bush, and like the bush ends up hitting her in the crotch. It's just dumb. It hits her in the crotch, and then she was just like, man, if people could see how I look right now, they probably thinking she is ridiculous right now. I'm thinking you're ridiculous, and I can't even see it, but I can visualize it. She ends up like making her way towards the front of his house, and she doesn't know how to remove the lights, but she ends up taking like one little light from the strip of lights and places it back in it. And she was going to do more, but she saw the judges were coming, and so she's like, dang it, I gotta go. But on her way out, she ends up tripping on the scarf that she had around her neck, and she hit Cole's fence so hard that she saw stars. And baby, I was in tears laughing so hard at this. Like, I could just see it. So she knocks her head into the fence and like falls out. She falls out. But, you know, she eventually gets up and makes her way to Aunt Cindy's house. Now, Cole and Max, they hear the whole commotion outside. So they decide to go to investigate. Let me calm down. They decide to go outside and investigate. They see that some of the lights are out, and they try to fix it, but they don't even know what's wrong with it. And the judges are making their way on the street. And Cole is pissed off because he saw the footprints leading from his house to Aunt Cindy's, and he is like, it was Storee. But he can't do anything about it, so he has to go back inside the house. Later on, he does confront Cindy and Storee about it, and he is not nice. Some of those words that he used, I was like, this is an old lady you were talking around. Would you use that mouth on your mother? Would you talk to your mother like that? He did not care. Now, there's still a chance of having some redemption to modify your lights later on after the last challenge. The redemption of it will add more points to, you know, the entire tally that you have. So there's still a chance that you can come back from this. But Cole devises another plan to try to make Storee look bad. He starts acting as though he really likes her, but that she keeps turning him down. So it would seem like, you know, he's a hopeless romantic who has good intentions, but Storee, being so heartless, keeps breaking my heart and turning me down. He finds Storee and Taryn talking to one of the judges in one of the, you know, the local stores. So he walks up and makes his move. He says, you know what? I damaged my lights so that Storee wouldn't have to feel bad about hers. I know that she was worried that her light display was too simple, and so I damaged mine. I sacrificed myself in order for her to be ahead of me in the competition. And the judge is like, that is so sweet. But this town is small, and this is entertaining to them. This is like them watching a Love Mark, if you know what I mean, a Hallmark movie. Them seeing young love, you know, come together in some type of way. So they're encouraging Storee and Cole to go out on a date. And he's like, I know she'll never go out on a date with me because her top priority is taking care of her aunt. So as much as I would love to go on a date with her, she would always turn me down. And Storee surprises him and is like, yeah, let's go out on a date, fool. She doesn't say fool, but I put that in there. And he's looking at her like, what do you mean? And she's like, yeah, let's go out on a date. You said you wanted to go out on a date with me. Come on, let's go out on a date. She's like, if you're gonna act like you want to be with me and stuff like that, you're not gonna make me look bad. So come on, let's go out on a date. So that night they go out on a date. And while Storee is on her fake date, she tells Taryn, you need to work on fixing these lights. And Taryn is like, I made the right decision. And it's the judge's fault as to why they don't like simplicity and perfection. And just fix the lights. They too simple. This is a whole competition. Like, nobody cares that you made it perfect around each corner. No one cares, Taryn. Fix the lights. But to the date. So Cole and Storee, they walk to the bar, they get some hot ciders, walk down Lover's Lane, go visit the animals, and grab some bratwursts. I don't know how to pronounce it. They grab those hot dog thingies that are not hot dogs and some gingerbread cookies. And doesn't it sound like a wonderful date? It does, but throughout the whole date, Cole is basically, he's berating her. He is talking crazy to her, and she's trying to match him blow for blow. At some points, you could tell that, like, what he was saying was kind of hurting her feelings, but she didn't let it be revealed to him. And every time when they would see someone, they would, be like, hey, how y'all doing? Merry Christmas. They're just trying to get through the night and make it through this date so they don't have to do it again. In fact, they already was, like, in the works of thinking what they would tell the townspeople if they asked if they had a second date. And they're almost at the end of this date when they run into a couple of the judges. They have a pleasant conversation until one of the judges points above the fake couple's head. What do you know? There is a mistletoe. And Cole, he leans in to kiss her, and like whenever he's like leaning in to kiss her, he's like, tell me to stop, tell me no. But she doesn't say anything. So he gives her a kiss. And he didn't kiss her not only once, but he kissed her twice. Cole? Okay. And she's acting like she was caught off guard. Girl, we knew you wanted them lips. We know you did. The soft caress of his hand on your face. We know. But both of them was feeling that kiss, even though they was trying to act like it was nothing. But anyways, he walks her home, and the next day is the fourth challenge, which is for the best fruitcake. I personally don't understand why people make fruitcake. How can something with cake and fruit in the name be absolutely disgusting? I don't know what it is about it. It's just so nasty. Even if you're like, okay, well, I don't want to eat the cake part. Let me pick off the cake and just only get the little candies in there. They're nasty. Why is this how you torture kids on Christmas? By giving them fruitcake, whatever. They have baking stations set up in the school's gymnasium, and Cole and Storee are near each other. And Cole, he's like, he cannot stop thinking about that kiss. It was something magical, something wonderful. Kisses do be doing it. I like me a good kiss. He's so thrown off in thinking about that kiss and thinking about her lips when he's looking at her that he keeps messing up his insults. Okay, so he greets her and he's like, I can see your forehead. And she's like, what do you mean you can see my forehead? And he's like, yeah, what do I mean that I can see her forehead? That's so dumb. He's like, it's there, and points to her forehead. And she's like, yeah, people usually have foreheads. And he's like, good for you for growing into it. It's dumb, but it's he's struggling because he don't know what to say. Storee, like I was saying, she thinks that he's trying to throw off her game, and she's like, you know what, you stay on your side and I'm gonna stay on my side. But like one of the judges ends up coming over there like, how is the happy couple? And of course Cole is like trying to butter it up. So he's like, oh, I'm just getting a good luck hug from Storee. I need another one. Thanks, babe. Cole really, like, since he started this, he starts using seeing the judges as an opportunity to touch Storee whenever he wants. Sir, don't be touching me. Just don't touch me, okay? Cole comes in third and Storee comes in first. Her secret ingredient was mashed potatoes, which, how? That's why I'm like, mashed potatoes and a fruitcake. Y'all are making me mad at this point. Y'all pissing me off. Because whatever. So they move on to the 5th challenge, which is candy cane making. Now the judge who's supposed to be over the candy cane making or whatever, he's not giving people lessons anymore because like one of the pupils, they ended up stealing his idea. Like it almost puts you in the same mindset as the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but the Johnny Depp version where like they were stealing all of Wonka's inventions. So they all have to travel an hour away just to receive the lessons. Now on this particular day, it is storming. Like it's a winter storm. It's bad. It's like snow is just coming down. And Storee is afraid of driving in the snow. Mind you, this girl, I don't really think she'd be driving even when she's at home because like she works from home, so she doesn't have to go anywhere. But the place that she stays is like sunny Malibu weather, so she's never had to drive in the snow and she's scared. But Taryn, she can't take her because Taryn has to continue to work on the light display. They're like crunched for time, so Storee has no choice but to drive. And she is like gripping that steering wheel. She doesn't have any music on. You know how you have to like you have to like turn the music down just so you can see better. That's how hard she's concentrating so she can see through the falling snow. But she's struggling even with the windshield wipers on, and she ends up getting the car stuck in a pothole. And that baby is crying. The poor baby is crying. There's no cell service, and she's thinking, I'm gonna die here. I'm gonna die here. This stupid competition. I told Taryn I couldn't do this, which is so dramatic. It is. But I know if I kind of was in the same position and I was supposed to be in this competition for my aunt, knowing how important it is to get to this candy cane making, I need to be on top of it. I don't want to disappoint her. So I can understand where she's coming from. But Cole is driving the same way, and he comes to the rescue. He you know, knocks on the window, and she sees him. She doesn't even care who it is. She's just like, thank God somebody is here, because like nobody was out. Nobody comes out in a freaking snowstorm but Cole. But he makes sure she gets into his truck safely. He blasts the heat, and he hands her some tissues because she's just steadily crying. And he is so concerned. All that tough guy, all of that melts away. And he pulls her to his chest, and he starts rubbing her hair. And he tells her that she shouldn't be driving in the snow, and why didn't she ask him for a ride? And of course she's like, because this is a competition and you hate me. It's very clear you hate me. He's like, I don't hate you. And she's like, you don't? Because I'm thinking you hate her. On their ride over to the, you know, candy cane lesson, you know, she's asking him, hey, like, pull the car over and I want you to tell me whatever it is. Like, what is it? What has happened over the years as to why you have something against me? And like his reasoning, to me, it isn't all the way clear, but I feel like a lot of this could have been avoided with communication. It's like these books, these movies, nobody communicates with each other. It pisses me off, because just talk it over. But I guess they wouldn't have a movie or a book. But anyways, the last holiday when Storee was back in town, when they were both 17, that Christmas Eve, it was the night that his parents had went missing. And he was scared, and he was wanting to have a conversation with Storee about it, like, I guess to have some reassurance. This also is the same day that Storee had the whole embarrassing incident. But whenever he did find her on Christmas Eve to try to talk to her about his parents, she's saying that the town is stupid. Like, I don't understand why somebody would want to live in this town. This town is dumb. You know, just going at it with the town because she's pissed off at what ended up happening. So he didn't even want to fight her on it. He didn't want to say anything about what was going on. He just stayed quiet. And she ended up leaving the next day. She ended up leaving on Christmas Day. But when they found his parents dead on Christmas Day. And Cole tried to find Storee, but he had learned that she had left town. So he thought, okay, well, she's done with this town. She's already said it, so that means that she's done with me. When she returned back, all those memories, you know, they kept flooding back. He had always associated her with Christmas. He knew that when she came into town, like, okay, we finna have a good time and all of that stuff. When she left and his parents died, Christmas was over for him. But she apologizes to him, and we find out, you know, Aunt Cindy knew about it, but he made her promise not to tell Storee. He was like, he did not want her sympathy at the time, and it's really sad. He was really hurting, and you know, he just wanted his friend. He had Max, but he wanted something more with Storee, and them having a sort of kind of close friendship during the holidays. They were like not necessarily glued to the hip, but they were always together. It just made sense for him to, you know, want to express himself to her. I think they should have kept up with each other, not just when the holidays was going on. They should have just kept up something. But they decide to start the friendship over, and everything is going to be restored back to where it was. And I'm thinking, okay, this is a great way to end the story, but this is only halfway through the book. And I mean halfway, I mean like not even page 300. It's like 200 something. But you know, they make it to the candy lesson, but the instructor is like, I'm not gonna teach y'all nothing. Why don't nobody want to teach us how to make candy canes? What is going on? They have to learn it on their own. Cole and Storee are partnered together. They the other contestants are partnered together too, but well, they have the sheet of paper with the recipe and everything on it, so they just are supposed to follow that to the T. But they worked really well together. And there's even some flirting going on. Like at one point, she's supposed to be pulling the candy. You put it on a hook and you pull it, you know, to like get some air in it. And of course she's weak, and he has to come up behind her, and like she pressing her booty up against him. Like they being real nasty is what I'm saying. Like very inappropriate at this candy cane making, but whatever. But they learn how to make the candy canes, and they come out really good. Oh, I also forgot to mention that Cole ended up calling Max and asking him to get the Terrence's car out of the snow and to like tow it back to, you know, Aunt Cindy's house. So that ended up being done, so they didn't have to worry about that. But on the way back, they end up having like a pleasant conversation, and you know, they're catching up, and you know, I guess just picking things back up where they were. Whenever they get back to their street, kind of like trying to figure out like what's going on. You know, Storee is, we can see from her point of view that she's wanting something more. We can see from his point of view he's wanting something more, but neither one jumps. So they're both like, okay, well, Storee's like, okay, I guess I'll just, you know, see you at the competition. And you know, they cut the night short and they go their separate ways. And Cole is thinking, man, I blew it. Maybe she just wants to be my friend. She's not looking for anything extra. You know, she just wants to restore the friendship, but there will never be nothing more. And he's in the middle of texting Max to let him know what happened, and he sees Storee walking over to his house with a thermos in her hand. She brings them hot chocolate for them to share, and you know, they're sitting outside on the porch sharing a blanket, and she breaks the ice by expressing her feelings for him, and you know, that she wanted to kiss him but didn't know what he wanted. And he pretty much tells her the same thing. Her coming into town is changing his life. The routine that he takes so much comfort in is like being disrupted, but it's welcomed. Like he's welcoming it. It's the first time he's felt alive in a long time. They start talking about their sex lives, and it's boring. Neither one really has anything going on. She hasn't been with anyone in years, and his last feeling was like maybe 8 months ago. with like some out-of-towner. So she tries to get the party started by climbing into his lap, and they start kissing, but they don't have sex. He doesn't feel comfortable with having, you know, having anyone really inside his house. The only person who's been in his house besides him is Max. And he's like, yeah, I'm not comfortable with that right now. And she's like, that's okay, I understand, you know, we can take, you know, small steps. So they put a pin in it and they call it a night. The next day, Cole goes out for a Christmas tree. And Max is like, what? You want a Christmas tree? Since when? Like, what is going on? Like, for you to be wanting a Christmas tree? Like, Cole hasn't celebrated Christmas in years. He hasn't decorated. He hasn't put up anything. Literally, his whole house is covered in white sheets because he's trying to preserve his parents' memories. I guess he's turning on a new leaf. And like, after giving a brief explanation as to why, he's like, I want a Christmas tree, dude. Like, just give me a Christmas tree. Max helps him cut down a Christmas tree, helps him load it in his truck. Cole is heading to his house, and as he pulls his truck into the driveway, he sees Storee and Taryn packing their car. Now he confused. He like, I thought we were starting over. This doesn't make sense. All I did was kiss you last night. Clearly I can't kiss if you finna leave. But we find out that Aunt Cindy and Taryn are taking a trip to her doctor. So after they leave, Storee helps Cole bring the tree into his house. And of course, like, there's some kind of like reluctance because Cole hasn't, like I said, he hasn't had anyone in his house except for Max. But you know, Storee, she understands. She's like, I can either help you with it or I can't. It's up to you, you know, like, this is your space. You take your time with things. And he's like, can you help me decorate? And she's like, yeah, you know. So when they go inside, of course, she sees that there's sheets everywhere. But they decorate the first floor and they put up the Christmas tree. And he was like, I got us some eggnog for dessert. And, you know, they talk over a few more things. And then they have sex. And they both enjoyed it. But you know what? This is what first off, I don't like hearing what they have to say when people are doing it in stories. I just don't. Because I don't like that C word. You know what that C word is. I don't like that word. I don't like that P word. All the cursing and all this stuff. It's just a bit much. It's a bit much. But, and also Cole is a tease. Like, don't rub me and then be like, no. You gonna wait for when I want you to, you know. If you know what I mean. But I'm not going to go into details about what happened. This is not that type of channel. We keep it PG-13 here more so. But they pretty much, you know, they do it all night. Like, they do it downstairs in front, you know, in front of the fireplace, and then they go upstairs to his room that she always wanted to see, his childhood room. Anyways, so they up all night doing it. And whenever Aunt Cindy and Taryn get back, you know, they can't spend as much time with each other because they got to keep up this facade that they're into it and whatnot. And when Taryn came back and she saw that Storee did none of the tasks that she asked her to do, Taryn is like, I'm watching you like a hawk. You gonna hang up these lights. You gonna practice this. She's making her practice nonstop. And like, the only way that Cole and Storee are able to communicate with each other is through texting. They even be sexting. I'm like, I don't understand sexting. I just think it's a waste of time. But you know, none of my business. If you do it, that's your business. But so remember, the 5th challenge is candy cane making. The judges, they set up the stations again at the school's gymnasium, just like the last time. And Max is feeling like Cole is abandoning him for Storee. Now, Max, you cannot have it both ways. You either want me to have a female companion in my life or you don't. Like, but really, Max is like, I don't want you to lose sight of what we're working for here. We're going to win this competition. But it kind of like had nothing to do with Storee. It was because one of their childhood friends was making fun of them. So he's just like, I want to smoke him and this is how we're gonna do it. But whenever Storee enters the gymnasium, Cole's mouth starts watering. Like, she's wearing a low-cut top showing her boobies and like showing off her curvy figure, and he can't help himself. So he walks over to, like, you know, start teasing her and her sister, and you know, they have their back and forth. But then once a judge comes around, he's like, oh yeah, when a judge comes around, I can use this as an excuse to touch her anytime I want. So he pulls her into his chest, and she's like smelling him like, he smells delicious. And I wanted to know, what scent is that? Because Max was telling him he smelled good at one point, and I was just like, if you smell good, you need to tell me what it is. I need to know. The town still thinks that they're a couple. So he's taking advantage of this opportunity, like I was saying. So he asks her out on a second date, saying, hey, yeah, I wanted to take you to visit, you know, the tree farm and to see my reindeer. And she's like, really? And he's like, yeah. So after she is like, yes, I would love to, he tilts her head towards him and he kisses her. And the crowd is like, ah. I'm like, ah, this is so cute. It's so sweet. But anyway, so he goes back to his station and the challenge begins. And everything is going good for both parties. Cole and Storee keep stealing glances at each other. And Taryn is not amused. She wants to know what's going on between the two of them. And Storee, of course, lies and says, you know, it's a part of the competition. If he wants to act like they're a couple, she's going to play the part. And Storee is doing fine, making her the base of her candy cane, like adding the flavoring and stuff like that, and kind of like rolling it. You know how you do. When it comes to the stretching and pulling, she is, you know, she's struggling with that. Like, she has to stretch and pull the white base so you can add the air in it. It makes it to where it's like a fluffier white color. It brightens it. So while she's doing that and struggling, Cole comes up behind her and is like, let me help you. So he helps her, right? And Taryn is like, I want to punch this dude in the face. He is trying to butter up the judges, the crowd, and my sister. But anyways, so when he finishes helping her pull the candy, he gives her a kiss on the tip of her nose. I'm like, Storee, she ends up coming in third place. She was marked down because she received help from the competition. And Cole, he came in second too. But Taryn was like, see, he came over here to help because he wanted to dock your points. That's why he came. But he really was just being sweet. He's just a sweet man. Now, this is the same man who every year he would help Aunt Cindy hang her lights, her Christmas lights. She old, but he would help her hang her Christmas lights. He's so sweet. But later on that night, they go for their date and they head to his workplace. And he introduces her to his reindeer. And then he ties her to a pole and they have sex again. And somehow they incorporate a candy cane in there. You can just go read it if you want to know what they did with the candy cane. It ain't nothing to do with me. But after they finish, they head back to his house. But they make sure to park his truck at like the local bar instead of on their street, so don't nobody think that he here and Storee ain't nowhere to be found. And you know, they go into his house and they have some more sexy time. And you know, Storee walks back to her Aunt Cindy's house. So before she had left, they had discussed, Storee had said to him, basically while she was doing things to him, if you know what I mean, basically that she didn't want to reveal to everybody about their relationship because she didn't want them to interfere with what they had, and she didn't want everyone to think that their relationship was interfering with the competition. They are literally 3 points away from each other, with Cole being in the lead. Max is kind of thinking that maybe Storee is going along with being with Cole, you know, behind the scenes, just so she can distract him. He thinks it may be a tactic like the lights, but Cole, he's like, no, she would never do that. We have something special. They do. We have something special. I'm like living vicariously through her. Like, have you ever just had a love that's just so, makes you have butterflies everywhere. That's how I'm feeling. It's so nice. But Max ends up letting it go because he's like, okay, you're right, I'm sorry. The 6th challenge is caroling. Storee's afraid to still be on stage, but they end up turning her caroling into more of a dance routine. So they decided to reenact the Mean Girls Jingle Bell Rock with Taryn and Aunt Cindy being her backup dancers, but it goes very well. And Cole and Max are next. They set up a projection screen with Cole's parents on it. His family, they're all wearing matching plaid, and Max decided to get the same plaid shirt for him and Cole to wear. Cole sings Blue Christmas and Max is like playing the guitar for him, and everybody's crying because it's sweet. And Cole's voice is very beautiful. I wish I could hear it, but they didn't add that to the book for me to have a sound cassette. But Taryn, she is like, this is too good. For this challenge, the judges are actually the general public. Storee ends up coming in 3rd place and Cole comes in 1st. Now he is leading the competition with Storee right behind him in 2nd. Taryn is all over Storee. She's like, we gotta do something more because you keep coming in 3rd place, so we gotta figure out what the heck is going on. And so she's making it to where they're constantly having to go over stuff. But later on that night, Storee decides to sneak out of the house to go congratulate Cole and tell him how proud she is of him, because like this was a big deal for him to, like, he's stepping outside of his comfort zone. He's doing this for his parents. It's just like, this is a totally different Christmas for him. And they of course have Mr. Nasty time, and then they have like some more discussions about like what they want in life, what they're seeking in life. And Cole is like, I need you to spend the night. And she's like, no, I can't spend the night. You know, first off, I left my aunt's door unlocked, and let's hope that I don't get locked out. And he's like, no. He's just like, I'm gonna wake you up early enough to where you'll be able to get up. And she's like, no. And then he starts doing things to her, and she's like, okay. So the next morning she sneaks into her aunt's house and is called by Taryn. And I'm like, oh, it's gonna go bad, it's gonna go bad. But she makes up some excuse like saying, oh, I was checking on the snow and trying to figure out like what else we needed to do with the lights. And Taryn was like, you know, she was buying it. First off, let me tell you something about Taryn. Taryn, she be on the phone with her boyfriend Guy. They be doing stuff on the phone, and so leave Storee alone, because she got her man and they be doing stuff. Just leave them alone. Last challenge is the Santa speed round, which they are timed wrapping gifts, sewing stockings, and making Christmas cards. They are again set up at stations in the school's gymnasium. Storee and Cole, of course, you know, have their banter before they start. But Taryn is like, you need to concentrate, Storee, and not be distracted by any means necessary. Storee, she's confident. She's confident, but then, you know, she finds out that Cole and Max, pretty much, they're wrapping gifts all the time at their job. They're making Christmas cards all the time. Max's mom worked with them on sewing, so she doesn't know if this is going to go good. She's thinking that she kind of has it. She did real good on the gift wrapping. She thought she did pretty good on the gift card making. But when it came to the sewing the stocking, I think she was hand stitching it, and Taryn kept saying, do not sew too close to the edge, otherwise the fabric will fray. And it did, because that's exactly what happened, because Storee was not paying attention. She kept stealing glances at Cole, and later on she told Taryn like the reason why she was so distracted was because Cole was using a sewing machine and it was so loud, so that was the reason why she kept looking at him. But really she was looking at the muscles rippling through that shirt. And I understand, I like a muscle or two. She comes in 3rd and Cole and Max come in 2nd. Taryn is like, I'm gonna go check out the other competition and see how were they able to do what they were able to do. While she's doing that, Cole and Storee sneak away, and she, you know, she's upset. She's like, I keep doing bad. I suck. You kind of do suck. No, I'm just kidding. she's just like, I keep doing bad, and you know, I don't know what to do. And he's like, it's okay, you know. And so he's like comforting her, and he's just like, it's okay, you still have the light display. If you change things with that, you can boost up your points and get back to number one. And so she's like, thank you. And then like she hugs him, and you know, they're snuggling, but somebody was watching. It was Taryn. Oh, Taryn is mad. She's just like, Cole has been taking advantage of my sister this whole competition, and he is trying to compromise her so that he can get the win. She's like, we didn't start struggling until after the fruitcake. So Taryn, she walks outside, she sees Cole's house and all the display of lights, and she goes over and starts tearing them down. She tears down all his lights and then throws them in the trash. I could put my foot so far up her. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? You don't know what you're doing. And it's not that serious to win this stupid competition. Cole wasn't home at the time whenever it happened. He had spent the night at Max's house. He usually does that every Christmas Eve. So imagine the shock on his face when he pulls up to his house and there are no lights. He's confused until he sees a ladder leaning against his house and the footsteps leading to Aunt Cindy's. He just knows Storee did this. He doesn't want to believe it, but he's like, Storee's the only one who had to do this. And Max is like, yeah, she had to have done it, bro. She already sabotaged his lights before. What would stop her from doing it again? So Cole walks over to her house. No, he confronts her. And of course, like, she doesn't know what's going on. It's like, she's like, okay, what are you talking about? And he's like, the effing lights. Don't play dumb with me. You took them down last night because you were so effing scared you weren't going to win. You snuck out and stole them. You effing used me this whole time, faked it, made me believe that there was something between us, only to sabotage me in the end. I shake my head. Who the F does that? What kind of heartless human are you? And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, sure. Play dumb, Storee. You've been so good at it so far, acting like you have no idea what you're doing in this competition, in this town, all to gain sympathy from me. Well, it worked. Then he does a slow clap. It effing worked. And now you can revel in your accomplishment because I'm done. And then he, you know, walks away from her. It's sad. Like, she's calling after him, and he's like, no, I'm not coming back to you because clearly you would stoop so low. I wore my heart on a pedestal for you. I revealed myself to you, and I made myself vulnerable, and you took advantage of that. And she doesn't understand what is going on. But after he tells her off, she runs into the house to confront Taryn. And Taryn is like, I was only helping you, sister, because he was using you. He knew that you were falling for him, and he was just using you for this competition. And Storee is like, no, he wasn't. He wasn't, Taryn. God, I can't believe you did this, that you would stoop so low as to hurt someone like that. This is the first Christmas he's actually celebrated since his parents passed, and you went and ruined that. You took that away from him, took away the joy, made him believe that the person who was falling for him betrayed him in the worst way possible. He by no means was using me. He by no means was trying to take advantage of me. He helped me at points. He was my rock through these past few competitions, and he made me realize that I could step past my fears and tackle big things. And you went and ruined that. She's like, I have to talk to him. So she runs out of the house and tries to stop Cole. He's in the car with Max. Max looks at him and is like, do you want to talk to her, bro, or whatever? And Cole is like, no. So then they pull off. So Storee asks Taryn, where did you put his lights? Where did you put them? And Taryn is like, I put them in his trash. So Storee goes to his trash can and starts pulling his lights out. She's trying to detangle them. And Taryn is like, you can't do this by yourself. Storee is like, you're right, I can't. So she walks over to one of the neighbors' house, and she's like beating on the door, ringing the doorbell, beating on the door. And when they finally open the door, she explains everything that happened and why she needs help from everyone to fix Cole's light. The whole neighborhood, they come together to help him. Like, they love that boy. They know that he has had a tragic life, that his life has not been the same since his parents had died, and everybody pulled everything together. You know, Taryn, she tries to apologize to Storee, but Storee is like, I'm not accepting anything that you have to say to me. And Aunt Cindy, she tells them, she's like, girls, we need to talk. And they're looking at her, they're like, where's your walker? And where's your wheelchair? How are you standing so good? And she tells them she hasn't been honest with them. She said that earlier that year, she had had a conversation with their mother, and that she and their mother had become concerned that Storee and Taryn were drifting apart. So they devised a plan that Aunt Cindy would fake having a hip injury so the two girls would come out and spend Christmas with her in hopes of mending their relationship. She reminds them that they are family and must always come back to each other. And of course, Taryn is like, you faked that? You made me wash your lady bits? Why would you do that? I would be like, why would you do that? And Taryn is like we're close. There's nothing wrong. And Storee is like, there is very much something wrong. We have not been in communication. I've been feeling alone while I've been in California, because that's where she lives. I've been feeling alone and I can't reach out to you. Every time when I text you, you don't respond for like days, if not weeks on end. You're so fixated with your job. I don't even know who this boyfriend is that you have. His name's Guy. But she's just like, we don't even have a life together. So it's just like, we weren't close. And Taryn's like, I never knew you felt like that. I just feel like Taryn seems like the type of person who, she's not a lovey-dovey type of person, but she loves. And the way that she shows love is like by doing things for people. And she thinks that that is enough. But with Storee, she's actually a person that needs to like have quality time. So the girls make up. Also, we ended up learning that Aunt Cindy, that doctor that she was supposedly going to visit, that wasn't a real doctor. She was on some, y'all know the movie Out of Time with Denzel and Sanaa Lathan? That movie, that is such a good movie. But she basically had a fake doctor say, you know, you're doing good with your hip, you know, you're going into recovery. But she only did that just so she could get Taryn away from Storee, so that Storee and Cole could have some alone time, because Aunt Cindy knew that they liked each other. Everybody knew that they liked each other. Taryn was like, I did it. She was like, and I wonder why you didn't. Cole is sulking with the reindeer. He's in seclusion with them, and he's like, I'm never leaving this place. I'm staying here. But Max goes out to the barn to get Cole, because he's like, you are not sleeping with these reindeer. My mama's not going for it, and my daddy is not going for it. So come on before they come down here. So they hop into Max's truck. Cole's like, we could just walk to your house. But Max is like, no, it's okay. We're gonna take the truck, because whatever excuse he made. So they're headed towards Max's house. And when they go past the house, but Cole is like, where are we going? And he's just like, oh, I had to go to a store in town for my mom. And Cole's like, okay. So Cole is just looking out the window, and he's like so caught up in his thoughts, he's not really paying attention. But he's noticing, okay, we did pass that store. And Max was like, yeah, I gotta stop at another spot too, you know. And Cole's like, okay. But then when they go past like everything, and they're like going into Cole's side of the town, like in his neighborhood, he like, what is going on? But Max keeps going. He's quiet, so he's just like, okay, whatever. So Max ends up going all the way to Cole's street, and he pulls up on the curb, and you can see that Cole's house is the brightest house on the street. Everyone from the neighborhood is outside singing. There's even a marching band, and in the middle of it all is Storee. And Max tells Cole that he was wrong about Storee. She was the one who planned all of this, like getting the lights all good and the marching band and all that stuff. And like, if you have a girl who is trying this hard to fix whatever it is she's messed up, dude, you need her in your life. Like, go get your girl. So Cole and Storee, they end up making up. You know, Storee apologizes to him, and he finds out that Taryn did it. We find out they are pregnant. Cole was like, how did we end up pregnant? She was on birth control. The narrator was like, you can't be stuffing her like that and think that y'all not gonna end up pregnant with all the sex that y'all was doing, just bandits out here. So they end up pregnant, and then they got married. and then they settled, you know, nicely into Cole's neighborhood home. Taryn, she ended up moving down the street, so she's in the same cul-de-sac, and she brought her boo along with her too. Like, she ended up applying for a nursing job in Kringletown so that she could be around her sister and her niece, which is the first baby that they ended up having. And Aunt Cindy is just, she's so happy because she has her girls back. You know, like, Christmas season was always, that was their thing. Those were her babies. She always tried to make the Christmas season really good for them. So we find out that neither one of them wins the competition, but they got something better in return. They got the loves of their lives. And the book ends where Storee is pregnant again with her second child, and you know, they're slowly making renovations to the, you know, his family home. And that's how it ended. I thought it was a pretty decent book. I still miss my Murder Kill Kill, but I thought that it was funny. It was funny. I laughed so much at the little banter that they had. It was just hilarious to me. It makes me think of a Hallmark movie, and it was very sweet. I do think that the book was entirely too long. It was almost 500 pages. Let me see. Yeah, 484 pages, ma'am. The juicy stuff didn't even start happening until page 300, which was the first time that they got busy. That's a long time before y'all get busy. A long time. It's just, and then, I don't know. I just thought that it was a very, very, very long book that was not necessary to be that long, but it still was good. I still enjoyed it. I think it has to be shorter than that though. Way shorter than that, because if you don't have no Murder Kill Kill to supplement all those pages, 500 pages, then I don't know if I want to read that. But overall I enjoyed it. If you want to read the book, it is called How My Neighbors Stole Christmas. I think I may read a couple more books from her. I got this from one of my friends. She knows who she is, and I told her I may try to borrow some more of you know, those books, but I checked out some books from the library and I renewed them a couple of times, so I know I need to go through them. But I told y'all the last time that I was probably going to try out this Alice Finney His and Hers book. I don't like that they put this shiny stuff on here. We don't need the shine. But whatever. I said that I was going to read that, so I think I'm gonna read that next. Remember I told y'all that she wrote the book Rock, Paper, Scissors? You all should try that out. That is such a good book. It is a good book. Good murder mystery that kind of didn't have a lot of murder in it. It didn't have a lot of murder in it, but it was a really good book. I am on Goodreads, and I have like a challenge where I'm gonna try to read 60 books this year. Last year, I think I got to like 53, 54 books. And this year I was like, let me up it to 60. So I don't think that I'll do, a video on each book that I read. And hopefully in the meantime, in between time, if I do skip a book, I will have my Reddit videos for you guys. I'm gonna start doing that. So we'll see how that goes. I hope you guys will enjoy that also. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe down below. And if you want to comment, I will take some suggestions if you want to do that. Or you can just, you know, sit here and hang out and, you know, enjoy yourselves. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.